Alright guys, TacticalRab back again today. I hope you're all doing well and enjoying your day so far, and the plot thickens regarding the Dallas Empire's decision to bench Huke off of their starting lineup. One of the craziest changes that we have seen certainly so far this season, not honestly one of the biggest stories we have had in Call of Duty for quite some time. Dallas News make an article on it a couple of days ago discussing with an interview really with Rambo exactly why they made this change in more detail, and it's very interesting to hear because a couple of days ago we saw Crimsix saying okay it's somewhat to do with the routes that Huke is taking on the map. Now we're talking about comms, we're potentially talking about other issues. There's a lot of chaos I'm sure going on behind the scenes right now, and all I'm really hoping is that Huke finds his way back into some sort of starting team before the end of the season. Intrigued to hear your thoughts in the comment section below. Like if you guys enjoyed the video, subscribe if you are new as always, I'd greatly appreciate it. It really helps out the channel. Thank you very much indeed for doing that. First of all, thought this is pretty cool from Esports. Charged 60k peak views on the first week of Call of Duty League 2021 Stage 3. That is not bad at all. Of course it's for the OpTic games, you know how it goes. Toronto versus Dallas also got good viewership as well, as you can see here on the final day. But yeah, usually by Stage 3 the viewership has actually dropped off somewhat. Typically what we'll see is the start of the season, the viewership's really great, 100k, something around that ballpark for the very first event. Given the fact that this is an online league and there's no like LAN action and anything like that, it is actually pretty impressive, I think, the viewership we are seeing so far. And well, the growth on the channel's also been crazy, so I think it's great to see. I think Call of Duty is heading in a nice direction right now. But well, one team that maybe not necessarily heading in the best direction is the Dallas Empire, but who knows? This is what they said a few days ago on the 23rd of April. Remarkable scenes. FeLo will be in the starting lineup Sunday against Toronto as we move Huke to a reserve role. This really took the entire community by storm, and as you can see, official statement by Raymond Lussier, that being Rambo, of course, head coach of this team right now. And I mean, Hastro really has been, well, the biggest Huke proponent for so many years. He's been on this lineup for so long. He really was the face of their team when, well, for the last couple of seasons. But as he says right here, wish them the best. Another challenge for me, and I am here for it. And of course, they go up against a couple of days later, up against the Toronto Ultra, and it does not go great for them. They lose this series 3-0. Certainly game 1 and certainly game 3 I think were winnable for the Dallas Empire. Those series, well, this series was not incredibly one-sided despite it being a 3-0. But at the same time, this is the first time this Dallas Empire squad has got 3-0 swept since Stage 1, where they lost to Atlanta FaZe, I believe, in the winners finals of the Major. And well, of course, given the fact that it's their first series with FeLo into the lineup, not necessarily looking too good. At the same time, Toronto Ultra are very good, and they did also beat them at the Major. Let's not forget in the elimination finals, Ultra, I'm pretty sure, then beat the Dallas Empire 3-1, and then they come in here and beat them 3-0 in, you know, kind of similar fashion, to be honest. But of course, this time they have FeLo instead of Huke in their very first match. You were kind of expecting that, well, Dallas Empire are going to have a tough time up against the reigning champions for Stage 2 in the Toronto Ultra. And of course, there was some reactions to this we'll look at in a second. But as we can see a few days ago here, Nameless said in a video, if you look at the minimap, it speaks for itself. Crimsix saying that, look, something to do with exactly Huke's routes on the map aren't exactly the best right now, and that may be the reason why we are being held back with Huke in the lineup, and it's preventing us from getting to the next level with our team and, well, kind of rekindling the magic that they had when they won the World Championship a few months ago. And certainly Dallas Empire didn't quite look like themselves. There was something off with this team. It was a little bit strange. They, of course, they still got over the line. I mean, they came second in Stage 1, they came third in Stage 2, but that obviously isn't the results that these guys want. They want to be winning championships, and they feel like, well, for some reason, Huke was a limiting factor in their team. And the reasoning for this is obviously somewhat strange, given that Huke was arguably the most, well, certainly I think you could argue, the most talented player on their team. I mean, Shotzzy's certainly got to be up there as well, but Huke in terms of raw mechanical gun skill is just out of control, and he was their best statistically performing player so far this season as well. So benching him was a massive surprise, and well, the route they decided to go down here also very interesting. And honestly, we kind of well, would have liked a reason. I'm sure the Dallas Empire fans would have loved a reason to be like, okay, this is precisely why we've done it. Some of the other teams had a sit down, of course, with their coaching staff, and they sit there in front of a camera, they explain their roster decisions, they maybe even bring the player on to discuss it. I think Toronto Ultra even they had methods on for kind of like an interview type thing in one of their blueprint series, where he was kind of describing that he doesn't agree with the change, but he understands maybe the reason why they've gone down this direction. And well, Dallas haven't done any of that, right? They haven't really explained anything, and some of it comes out in an article right here as we will look at. As some of the guys say at the time, GG's Ultra unfortunately lost 3-0, could have won the other map certainly. And well, this is what Miles said at the time: can an empire rise once again, that once it has crumbled from within? And as Hastro says, tough match against Toronto today after the roster move, gonna be tough, don't expect immediate results. So the article comes out from the Dallas News a couple of days ago. This is exactly what it looks like right here. Dallas Empire and Hastro stand by the lineup shakeup after their 3-0 loss. Huke was holding back progress. So this is what we'll look at. I'll leave the list link down below if you guys would like to check it out in more detail. But effectively, Rambo has to say a fair few things on the team, but the Empire do not feel like they're falling apart. It's actually the opposite. Empire head coach and general manager Rambo said the following: I took a lot of crap, I'm the coach and GM, if anyone's going to have fingers pointed, it's going to be me. It's not very fun, but it is part of the role. But if it pans out the way we think it will, it's not easy for everyone to see right now. now, we think it'll be a step in the right direction. We wouldn't have done it if we didn't think that. So saying, look, it's not personal reasons or anything. This is a change made for the betterment of the team. The Empire understood what the roster move looked like. Garland, that being Huke, of course, had the best KD on the team, made highlight plays and was crucial in their title run in 2020. Of course, Mike Raphael, that being Hastro, did not want to do this, but he had to listen to his team. So, of course, we know that Huke has been the poster boy of NV for a number of years. The fact that Hastro, signed off on this is honestly kind of surprising to me. But if the team really, they must have really thought that this change was going to help their team, and maybe it will do. Who knows? There's, still time for this team to improve and keep improving. And, as they say right here, the Empire were losing matches, not improving or fixing their mistakes. The whole team felt that Garland became a limiting factor. Wow, that is, quite the statement. The entire team, the coaching staff, all the players, apart from Huke, of course, believed that, he was the limiting factor to their success. The whole reason behind this change, and I know a lot of fans might be upset about it, is that these are professional players who have been in the scene for a long time and they feel like they could not make progress. Hastro told the news they felt like other teams were catching up to the squad and felt like there were issues with Kyler, that being Huke, holding back that progress. This is what they then finish off the article with. Johnson, that being a felony now into the lineup, said he likes to look at situations from both sides. Felt like Huke was a generational talent, one of the most mechanically capable players in the world, but the chemistry with the Empire was forever changed when they went back to 4 versus 4 from 5v5. Priestahh, now with the subliners, was a driving force for the Empire in their communications. He and Crimsix, of course, took pressure off each other as co-leaders. With Priestahh now in New York and Garland's, that being Huke, of course, needing to step up as a communicator, the Empire changed. Going into this year, I feel like with these four, they've just been trying to get a system going. When you guys talk about it, if they're agreeing with the system you're trying to put in place, then when it comes to tournament matches and things are straying away from that path, it is a weird thing. It wasn't just Lussier, that being Rambo, who made the decision. It wasn't just Porter, that being Crimsix, having his veteran voice heard. It wasn't just the other guys tired of not reaching the top. It was all of those things. With FeLo in the lineup, there will be hiccups, but they wanted him to fill a communications void. So very interesting stuff, right? Because a couple of days ago, we got Crimsix talking about, okay, it's the routes that Huke has taken on the map that aren't so good. Now we're talking about communications. And very interestingly to me, in the sense that, we've kind of known that Huke has actually kind of been stepping up in the communications, or at least we thought from an outside view looking in, the fact that especially early season, you would go to listen-ins, in the respawns, a lot of the time it was actually Huke kind of leading the charge at times. Now you could make the case that in Huke's situation, right, as one of the more aggressive SMG players in the game, maybe that's not the best position to put your IGL in, or at least, someone who's leading the communications, because, they're focused on winning gunfights and maybe don't see exactly a big picture. But Envoy seems to be doing it to relatively good success over at the OpTic Chicago guys, and we certainly saw last season that, okay, we had Priestahh and Crimsix were the two in-game leadership type figures really on the team, and Huke didn't really have to do too much in terms of being that vocal player. This season, that certainly was required, but in the early part of the season, it really felt to me, and I think felt to a lot of people who were watching the games and watching the listen-ins, that he actually was doing a very good job being, being an additional vocal player. I think we saw that Crimsix often would take charge of the communications, making calls in search and destroy, but in the respawns, I remember one specific moment where it was on raid, I think it was on raid hardpoint or something, they were all, maybe it was control, they were all trying to push through the back for either spawns for the kitchen hill, or they were pushing all the way through for the B control point, if you see what I mean. And they were over by laundry side, there was 3 of them right there. There was one guy on the tree head glitching over towards kitchen, and Huke made a call. He was 3, 2, 1, go, and then we'll all fly around the corner at the same point. And I was really impressed by that, and I think a lot of people have been pretty impressed by what Huke actually brought to the table in terms of the communication for this team. But clearly, the team doesn't seem to think that that is the route in the right direction. So the plot is thickening, to be honest, because we get Crimsix kind of saying one thing, now we get some articles right here saying another thing, and the entire team really talking about the fact that the communication was a major issue for them. So I suppose the idea now is that FeLo coming in from the challenger side is going to be the second caller. Shotzzy and ILLey can just do what they want in terms of the SMGs. Crimsix is going to be the main man, and then a FeLo also stepping up in communications as a kind of second AR flex type of role. So very interesting stuff. Intrigued to hear your thoughts in the comment section below. Again, it really does come back to the question, can this possibly improve the team in the long term? If communication is the main issue, surely there could have been some other options they could have taken, right? What about putting Huke onto the second AR? So instead of having FeLo there, put ILLey on the sub, then put Huke on the AR, and then, okay, if he needs to be a communicator and you need him to slow down somewhat and take different routes, then I'm sure Huke would do a phenomenal job with the Krigan hat. I mean, this guy is an absolute monster. He's certainly not going to be missing bullets at all, and maybe you think that, okay, if ILLey's going to be better on the second SMG, then, what about just trying to put Huke on the flex and giving that a go, as opposed to bringing in FeLo and, getting rid of Huke in his entirety, and, hopefully they do at least let him walk. If they do improve with this Dallas Empire team, which in effect I almost hope they do, just so that maybe they're like, all right, Huke, I mean, if we've had a great time, then feel free to go elsewhere, and he can look for his revenge somewhere else. I mean, it's going to be crazy, but I do hope he gets back into the league at some point. And as Crew says, just to finish off the video, a couple of interesting things. Challenger COD is more entertaining to watch in Pro COD. Certainly that may be the case at times, but well, and some of the drama in both of the scenes is pretty remarkable stuff. And as RC says, though, of course, you guys play a tourney every week, you know, screw each other over with the host, so everyone has a shot at winning, change teams every day, so it's always entertaining. But some of the stuff in the pro scene, it can certainly get up to that point as well. Speaking of RCs, I thought this was kind of funny. Can you all add finishing moves to my account? I love you forever. And you know, we've seen it, well, FaZe guys really being kind of disrespectful in some of their victories so far this season up against some teams. And well, RC's looking for finishing moves to add to the repertoire, so we can start world starring guys on a more regular basis. But intrigued to hear your thoughts in the comment section below. They play next week, of course, do the Dallas Empire up against, I believe, the Los Angeles Grillers. They play one match, and then after that they have, well, a couple of difficult matches to finish off the stage up against the Minnesota Rokkr and the Florida Mutineers. I believe they have not played so far. But intrigued to hear your thoughts on all this stuff in the comment section below. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you did enjoy it, I'd greatly appreciate a like on the video. It really helps out the YouTube algorithm. You enjoyed this content. Other people like you may enjoy this content as well, and help grow the competitive Call of Duty community. Thank you for watching as always. Take care, and I will see you next time.
The right side mid. Dead.
Left.
I don't see anything globe.
Look at the A pusher.
I flash plat, nothing.
Yo, I'm staying on globe right now. I'm looking for info.
I'm looking at the A pusher for a sec. Yep, A pusher. Dead.
Yeah, let's push B side.
Okay.
I'm coming to B from mid, okay?
Yeah.
Unless he's already through mid. I have your mid to Eskies. I'm staying on globe.
Yeah.
Yo, he just slipped on me. I don't know where.
That's
I don't
me.
know where.
Okay, I slid too.
Oh, that was you. Oh.
Remember, he might be inside B right here.
Yeah. I'm gonna check the right. Yeah, right. I'm jumping out.
I'm going in.
Come on, ace me up, baby.
Nice.
Yo,
Ace
that's
me up.
IQ right there.